Disappointed but not surprised. Disappointed but not surprised. Disappointed but not surprised.
Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Fuckery. We're your disappointed but not surprised co-host. I'm Addie.
I'm Alex.
And this week we have a special guest, Shoshana, on the show to talk about all of her dating stories. Adventures. But first we want to talk about the news of the week, I guess it is.
Yeah, I never even heard about this though.
I sent it to Alex.
Which is surprising because...
So I'm in a Facebook group that, you know, we've had a couple guests on. We call it a Fight Club. And everybody was going crazy about this. And this fits perfectly with the podcast.
Yep.
Megan Hall. Anybody who's not heard of Megan Hall, it's that cop that got fired, who's married, who used to be a nurse. She actually removed her Facebook, but
she was a nurse.
She was a nurse. Oh no, a CVS pharmacist or a Rite Aid pharmacist. Walgreens. Walgreens pharmacist, thank you, who posted like back on her Facebook back in 2021. It's like, guys, I'm so sad to retire from, you know, Walgreens being a pharmacist, but on to new adventures. I'm becoming a cop. So basically, fast forward, you know, 2 years later, she gets fired for fucking every single person in her precinct. Apparently, there was like Christmas parties and she like gangbanged a bunch of guys. I think she fucked 5 guys from her precinct. She's married. Her husband, she said she was in an open relationship, but then this is all over the news. Her husband, they were not in an open relationship.
No, he was like, what?
But he's sticking by her side.
That's the best part. No, that actually there's a lot of best parts to this. One of the best parts is that he's sticking with her. Like okay, weirdo. Second best part is that she's ugly as sin.
She's butt fucking ugly. One of my friends, and like we're not trying to be mean, but like,
yeah, okay.
Yo. One of my friends goes, I wouldn't even give her a facial. And she clearly is lacking those from all the acne she has on her face.
This is my thing. If you're going to risk it all, like your career, your marriage, your home, your kids, whatever, make it worth it. Like this looks like a fucking swamp monster. But I guess, I mean, they're in Tennessee. I don't know like what the picking's like out there, but I don't know.
Seriously. I think some of the cops, so I think it was 5 cops, and like it was very apparent and everybody knew that she was like the cop whore, and like Christmas parties, she would just be like topless and everybody would be grabbing her titties. If I saw this bitch nude, I'd be like,
yeah, I'd be running another direction. I don't know what they look like though, but like
I do.
Still.
One of the guys looks like the one from White Chicks.
Which one?
The one that was obsessed with one of the white chicks that they went on the date with. Like, and he was like, making my way downtown.
Yeah. I forget what his name is. Well, I never know.
Like the big black.
Yeah.
Like, one of them looked like that. There was 2 black, 2 white, I think, from what we saw. There was like a meme that somebody even posted that had like one of the dogs, like she would fuck one of the dogs. But the story is so wild and like not for nothing. Like, I mean, shit gets out, especially with social media, but I kind of do feel bad for the girl.
You do?
I don't know. Like,
she's clearly psychotic.
But everybody knows who she is now. Like,
yeah, she'll never get a job again.
She'll never get a job again unless it's on OnlyFans. So, I mean, but then again, like, she can, you know, profit from this shit.
Yeah. Well, that's all she's gonna be able to do. But like, who in their right mind would sign up for her OnlyFans? She's not attractive.
She's not attractive, but clearly 5 guys in the precinct fucked her.
That's true.
Alex and I want her on the podcast so bad.
I know. Maybe she would do it if we offered her like $5.
A gift card to 5 guys.
Yeah. Well, they said she had like mental health issues. Like she talked about like wanting to kill herself.
Oh, really?
And like
I didn't hear that.
Took the bullets out of the gun one time in the precinct and like put it to her head and like click the trigger to see what it sounded like.
Oh my
Like,
God. See, I didn't hear that.
I guess
part.
she's like unstable, but the husband is like supporting this shit. Like,
If
all
I
right,
were the
dude.
husband, I would run. Like, first of all, now
Run,
your
I'd-
wife's unemployed.
I'd run her over. I'd be like, are you fucking kidding? You told people we were in an open relationship. You fucked everybody in this precinct. And like,
And you embarrassed the fuck out of me, too.
yeah. His name is Jedediah.
Is it?
Yeah.
He's probably like caressing her fucking acne patches right now. Anyway, so we wanted to talk about that before we got into the show. So we're going to bring in our guest, Shoshana. And Shoshana's going to tell about some wild dating stories that she has. So here goes Shoshana. All right. Hey, Shoshana.
Hi.
Hey.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing.
You excited to be on?
I'm very excited to be on. To
We've
share
actually
my,
wanted you on for a
expertise.
while. So Shoshana has a series of bad dates, basically.
I have the dating scenarios from hell. So
And we haven't had a good dating podcast in a while. The last one was with Rachel, who was with that cop that like ate his straw, that like stalked her in the parking lot or
Yeah,
whatever.
he was definitely a serial killer.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of like random not babies on, but like sissies on. So it's time for a new dating one. So take it away, Shoshana. This is your show, not ours today.
so I'm going to start with 2021 because it all went downhill from there.
Okay.
So it all happened when I was out with my sister and her husband. We were at the bar in Fire Island having a great old time. I look across the bar and I see this guy and we make eye contact. And then after that, he starts dancing over to me. We dance, we have a fun time. We take the ferry back. We're holding hands. We're making out. You wouldn't think that we just met that night. We had there was something there. So then
Even your sister said that like there was a connection.
there was a connection.
Yeah.
So my sister and her husband go home. I was living in Long Island City at the time, so I was staying at my parents' house. So we went to a bar around there. We drink more, we're having fun, and then I go to get an Uber to go back, and he comes with me, and I'm like, all right, but I'm going back to my parents' house. So I'm thinking I get out of the car, I'm thinking that he's going to just take the Uber back to where he lives.
Yeah.
And he lives like 40 minutes away.
Yeah, it was 40 minutes away, but still on Long Island. So he gets out of the car with me, and I'm like, you realize that this is my parents' house. My dad is sitting inside watching TV right now. And he's like, oh, well, let's just go in the back. I'm like, no, because if we go in the back, the light's going to go on, my dog's going to hear and start barking. So it was a back and forth. The Uber had left. So I was like, fine. And I take him and I'm like, let's just go in the back of my car.
Well, wasn't he like, let's go in your backyard? And you're like, dude, no, not the backyard. Like, this is fucking weird.
No, it's just that,
Oh, you did say that. Sorry. I was on my phone.
So then anyway, I have a Honda, a small Honda. He is 6'5". This guy is huge.
Oh, God. Okay.
Played basketball in college, humongous. So we get in the back of the car, we're hooking up, and I'm like, at this point, I'm wearing a romper, it's going down. And then I'm thinking
Rompers are the worst to have sex in too, because it's like all or nothing. There's no lifting something up, taking something down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at this point, I'm thinking it's late at night, no one's gonna see or whatever. And then all of a sudden, so I have no shirt on or whatever. I look over, I see headlights, and my mom pulls into the driveway.
Oh my God.
And I make eye contact, I go, Mom! And I duck down, and then I'm like, shit, we gotta get out of here. So I put my romper back up, get out of the car, hands in my pockets. I'm like, Mom, what are you doing home? She's like, Shoshana, it's 9:00 at night. What are you doing?
Oh, shit.
That's so fucking embarrassing.
Yeah, it got worse though. He ends up leaving, so he takes the Uber back. Then the next morning, I'm feeling a little awkward around my parents. And all of
Yeah.
a sudden I see my dad walk out to the car with a bottle of Febreze.
Oh my God.
what did you do? It stinks in there.
Oh shit.
That is so fucking mortifying.
I never wanted to escape my body.
Yeah.
Needless to say, that didn't really go anywhere. And then there's just been like weird guys that I've been on dating apps ever since. Like, I'll go to the bar and I'll meet someone, and one of his first questions were, "So, what type of sex toys do you have in your drawer?" Like,
Red
I don't-
flag.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
like, that's on the first date. Like, I feel like right out of the gate, that's kind of an awkward question to ask. So,
Unless they're like have autism where they don't like have social cues, like
Seriously.
that's a really big problem.
Or it's
Yeah.
like cut to, I guess they just want to like cut to the chase and see if you guys are compatible. But like first date shit, no
Yeah,
fucking
no.
way.
yeah. So it kind of went like that. And then I was on the apps. I met this other guy that he was really, really funny. And I like guys that are funny. Just so happened my sister was getting married 2 months after we met. So one of the lines in my dating profile was like, I'm looking for like a +1 to my sister's wedding. Like, can you dance the big 3, Macarena, electric slide, and like something else really stupid.
Yeah.
So he was like, oh, I'm game for that. And it was like a joke, like, oh yeah, like you'll be my wedding date. But we actually like went on dates. And he was like, it was hard because like he was so hit or miss. He seemed like super into me. Like, we would have so much fun, and then like I wouldn't hear from him, and he would like completely fall off the face of the earth, and then just like come at me so hot with like, you know, either call me or send me all these text messages. So something seemed a little off, but he was also really, really, really into wanting to go to this wedding, which like kind of now seems a little bit creepy, but you know, I wanted him to be my date, so I was down for it.
You're like, whatever, as long as we match outfits.
Yeah. So he wants to meet my sister and her husband, which I think is a good sign, especially like if he's going to come with me to the wedding.
Right.
So we all go out. We end up going to karaoke, which was an interesting choice. But after karaoke, I didn't hear from him.
Did you
And
sing at karaoke?
I sang.
Hell yeah, we sing at karaoke.
I think
Shoshana
I
and I are
went
karaoke stars. You
think
thought
we
you
went
went
too
too
hard.
hard. That's what
Okay.
it was. Because we go hard at
Hard
karaoke.
at karaoke.
Like she's like cartwheeling, dancing on tables, like spinning around, like running down the aisles. Guys are like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, so I was
And it's like to
ooh.
Meatloaf.
Okay, yeah. So he might have got a little. Like,
It's literally to Meatloaf, like not even Paradise by the Dashboard Light. It's,
I would do anything for
I would
love.
do anything for love. That is our karaoke
Okay.
song.
So I didn't hear from him for a week after our karaoke, and then I'm like, all right, maybe I did something.
She's
so I
like,
text
guys,
him.
we went too hard at karaoke. He thought it was weird.
Well, no, I texted him. I was like, so was it the song choice or the moves? And he goes, oh my God, so sorry. Like, this is how I know he's a fucking liar. He goes, I wrote out a text message but forgot to hit send. I'm like,
yeah, okay.
okay.
Because he
Okay.
would have been thinking like, oh, why didn't she write back? Look at the text and
Exactly.
see that it never sent.
Yeah,
Because
so
like
he just
I've done
made up
that, but then I'm
bullshit.
like, this person's not responding. Let me look.
Yeah.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
he's so full of it.
Yeah. So then I'm like, all right, whatever. So, but he's still like kind of baiting, like talking to me a little bit. So then finally I just got to the point where I was like, you know what, listen, like, I know we spoke about you coming to my sister's wedding with me, but I just don't really think it's a good idea. It's like my family. I want to be, like, I want to, you know, be there for it. I don't want to, you know, I just don't really want to
Entertain
Who
him
the
the
fuck
whole
wants
time.
to babysit some
Exactly.
random dude at a wedding too
Especially
that
someone that's
nobody knows
not-
anybody?
Right, especially someone that's not being like attentive. Like you're making me
Well, that's
guess
the thing.
here.
It's like if you were like officially dating or
Right.
like boyfriend, girlfriend, different story. You're going to introduce him to people. But like, I would be like, who do I say this is? Like, hey, went
Yeah.
on like a couple of dates. He's ghosted me for like 2 weeks. And like,
No,
But
and you
hey.
want to have fun at your even your sister invited my boyfriend to the wedding when we were like together, and I was like, nope, he's not coming. I didn't even tell him about the invite because I didn't want to fucking babysit him the whole time. He doesn't
Right.
know anybody there. It's not fun.
Yeah. So anyway, I sent him this text. I'm like, listen, I just don't think it's a good idea. It's my family and blah, blah, blah. He sends me a message back. No, I totally understand. Like, and then calls me and was like, listen, you're just really cool. And I have to be honest with you. Like, I have to go to rehab for coke. Like, my family, they had an intervention with me. Like, on and on and on. And I'm like, well, now this all checks out. Like, now, like, your erratic behavior, your ghosting, like, it all
Right.
makes sense. So, kind of made me feel better. But then, literally a week after, I get a text message, like, what I forget what bar it was, Freeport, 8 p.m. And I'm like, send him a question mark, like, huh? Like, aren't you in rehab? He's like, no, I leave on Friday. I'm getting fucked up before I leave. And I'm like,
Solid plan.
Going out with a bang.
God, here we go. So my asshole goes there. So I go to the bar thinking like, all right, like it's gonna be him and his friends. Like, like thinking back, I don't even know why, because I would have not known anybody but him, even if it were all of his friends. There were no friends. There was not a single person in the bar. It was him and this like weird old guy playing pool. Like, it was just a bizarre situation. So then I have to buy beers all night because he's like, yeah, my family, they're like having me go to rehab. They cut off all my credit cards. All I have right now is $2,000 worth of weed in my trunk and like $50 worth of Apple gift cards. So it's like, okay. So I'm like,
Then why
all
are you at a bar?
Yeah. So I'm like,
Like, who did he think was gonna pay if you didn't show up?
The old man
no
playing
idea.
pool?
No clue. Well, I think he was cutting deals with the bartenders, like giving them weed for,
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Makes sense.
but he couldn't like, wasn't buy me drinks kind of thing.
Okay.
So anyway, so then we're hanging out and he keeps like eating out of this pouch, like eating these like gummies, like they're like fucking Cabbage Patch, like Sour Patch Kids. I'm like, what are those? He's like, oh, they're edibles. They're really good. Do you want one? I'm like, no, I have to drive home. So I was like, but put some in a napkin. Like, I'll have some when I get home. So anyway, as the night progresses, he starts like crying, like literally to the point where he's crying because he's so fucked up from these gummies. He's crying on my shoulder. You don't understand. My family, we used to be so close. And I was like, oh God, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
So then I end up like leaving. That was the last I ever saw of him.
Thank God.
So I drive home and I'm like, I have these gummies and I'm like, all right, let me take like one. So I have one and I'm like, they don't work. I take another one. I take 3.
How many hours did you let like go by before you had another one? Or like 10 minutes?
Maybe 10 minutes.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I'm the same way though. I'm
Alex
like, this
does the
isn't
same
doing
thing.
anything.
Yeah.
Take a shit ton more, and then I'm like fucking tripping balls.
I was spinning. I couldn't lay down. I legitimately was projectile vomiting the next
my
day.
God.
Oh my God.
The full day. I was just so out of it. Like, I just could not, like, I could not get it together. It was so bad. So yeah, that was the last I heard of him. And then the wedding happened. So I go to the wedding and I'm, cracking jokes in my speech and I'm like doing a dance for my intro. So like a good time Charlie at the wedding.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law's friend in like 2 weeks after the wedding was like, so what's the deal with your sister-in-law? And he was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, is she single or anything? He was like, I mean, like, yeah. So he ends up calling my sister and being like, is it okay if like I take your sister out on a date? And like, he's like, we can all do like a group thing. Like we can all do a group thing. And she's like, yeah. And they asked
Anything
me.
but karaoke.
Yeah. And they're like, and then they asked me, like, do you want to do that? I'm like, well, now, yeah. Like, the way he went about it, like, I kind of like the whole situation.
That would be like a perfect match on paper.
On paper, it was like, oh my God. Like
yeah.
from college I never met. He saw me at the wedding, thought I was so charming, blah, 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 blah.
On paper, that is the perfect setup.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't.
Dun, dun, dun.
So he's the type of guy that wakes up, jerks off to Tucker Carlson, eats fucking Cheerios.
Oh God.
He is so political. Like, such a Trumpster, like so political.
And
so-
Shoshana hates Trump.
I'm just not political at all. I hate all things politics. I hate the right. I hate the left. I don't really like, I'm just more middle ground. But I genuinely do hate Donald Trump. And he legitimately wears Make America Great Again hats.
MAGA.
Clarence.
Yep. So I was like,
Not
do
a
I
good fit.
do this? Like, I kind of like found all that out after the
After,
fact.
yeah.
So after I agreed to go to dinner and do all these things, and I'm like, ugh. I'm like, I do hate the fact that he's like so in love with him, but whatever. So we go to dinner, and it was fine. It was perfectly fine. And then he asked me out like individually, and I'm like, I had nothing to do, and he was like bringing me to dinner and stuff. I'm like, I might as well. So we go to dinner. We then he takes me to an escape room, and like the whole,
Those are fun.
Yeah.
Alex is really good at those.
I love them.
like you're like sickly good at
Thank
those.
you.
here's how much of a pussy he is. Didn't even try. Like when you're in an escape room, you're in a dark room by yourself. There was no one else there. We had no one else helping us. It was
Except
just
the
us.
camera guy that's like creepily watching in the room.
Right, but like he could have like made a move and kissed me, didn't. Like he was just such a pussy, and he was like so like awkward. Then I'm like, I don't know, guys. We go out again. This is the last time. We go out with my sister and brother-in-law again, and we try to go to like Top Golf or whatever those like golf things are, and we didn't get in, so we all took separate cars. It was me in his car, and then my sister and her husband in the other. And on the drive back, he was like, so like, what music do you listen to? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I really like my Spotify is the Moana soundtrack, country music, like T.I.
Yeah.
Like, nothing makes sense. I genuinely like all
Britney
music. I was
Spears.
like, yeah. I was like, well, I like all music. He's like, pick a genre. Like, just like flipped. Pick a genre. I look at him. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like he screamed at me to pick a
I
genre.
didn't know it was such a touchy subject.
yeah.
I'm sorry, bro. Put on Raffi, please.
Wow.
Do you want to see my meatloaf rendition?
Yeah. I'm like, well, you're not coming to karaoke with me.
Really?
So then we get to so then we like finally settle on a place that we're going to. We get to the restaurant, and we're like, I ordered a Journey Martini, and they're like pretty big, and so does my sister, and we cheers. And he's like, if you spill on my Jordans, I'm like, oh my God, here we go. I'm like, I look at her and I'm like,
Were you scared? I would be
Almost.
scared.
Because he like was so like now all the Trump shit like checks out because he was so explosive.
Yeah.
Like he had no chill. It was like 0 to 60. And then finally we're sitting down at the bar and we just like order food. And I don't even know. It doesn't even matter. But he ordered mac and cheese and I like took some and it fell from my fork onto the bar and he goes, "You are such a slob."
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was like, fuck you, bro. Like, get out of here. So he goes to the bathroom and I look at my sister and her husband. I was like, I'm done. I was like, I'm literally never talking to this guy again. And mind you, this is the third time we went, like, hung out. Never even made a move, tried to kiss me. So I was like,
Yeah.
he's fucking gay. Like, he's definitely gay because, like, one, like, you're, like, almost, like pushing me away. Like, it was gross. So he drops me off at home and I was like, this is not gonna work. I was like, and then he like leans over to make out with me and I like do it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, we already fight too much. Like, this is not a good thing. And he's like, well, banter is good. Fighting is good. I was like,
No, it's not. No,
it's
like-
not.
like-
Like, this is our third date. We've literally yelled at each other this entire time. Like, this is not a good
You
thing.
screamed at me over music.
You called
like,
me a slob. Like,
yeah.
get out of here. So anyway, then we were done, and he texts my brother-in-law, "Oh, bro, we made out for like 5 minutes. It was sick." I'm like, ew. That's what he texted you? Out of everything, that's what he
Best
texted
5
you.
minutes of my life.
Yeah. I'm like, now I know he's definitely gay because he's like trying to prove like, ooh, we made out.
Yeah.
Like, you should be making out on the first date.
Was the makeout good?
No, he was like a slob.
So he's the slob, and he called
He's
you
the
the
slob.
slob.
And like, back up a little bit. Like, when you drink, you're a little messy.
I am, but
So you need somebody to accept your mess if it's going to be like somebody that is just like your sister. She'll be eating like chips, and when she gets drunk, she'll like just eat food, and her sister's just there with a broom like cleaning up after her. Like, she needs somebody like that, not somebody
Right.
that's
Yeah.
going to fucking like
judge
me
you
out.
hate
or
on her.
but that's the best part is that's why we were like kind of like laughing, being like, oh, this is not going to work, because like I was basically sober at that point and it was an accident. Imagine if you saw me drunk with like mac and cheese on my pants, like he fucking shit himself.
Yeah.
chocolate. We were in the city one night, and it was Bryant Park.
Yeah.
And she was a little tipsy, and she had a date before that, and she got drunk on the date and then met us for tacos, and then we went to Bryant Park, and you got a chocolate eclair.
No, it was a waffle. It was
Oh, it
one
was
of
a
those
chocolate
waffles with
waffle.
chocolate on it.
She had chocolate smeared all over her face.
That sounds like me.
It is. But like, you need somebody to accept you for that,
Right.
not somebody that's going to yell at you for it every single time. Like, this
know.
ain't your compatible man.
No.
Yeah, no.
And he wasn't. But it's like that type of stuff. Like, it could all check out so well, but like, no, it just doesn't.
Yeah, it's like he's a weirdo, obviously.
Total weirdo.
Just screaming in the car would have got me.
I would have been like, please leave me here. I'll Uber
Yeah,
home.
like
Yeah.
what the hell?
And he had a Tesla, and I don't know. It just did not. I honestly think that he has no home and he spent all his money on a Tesla. Like, he was just like, he'll like post a parking ticket, but he has to have his like Tesla logo in the like everything. He always
Ew.
has to have his Tesla logo in like all of his stories, all of his photos. So I don't know. I muted him. I shouldn't follow him. No, he was a lawyer. That's why I chose to stay in good contact with him, because he's a lawyer and it could help me out with.
Yeah, you never know.
You just never know.
You never know when you need a good hookup with like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Get you out of jail free card.
Yep.
But yeah, so anyway, so going back to the wedding, I actually also met someone that night, another one of Joe's friends.
Joe's her brother-in-law.
So another one of his friends, and we're dancing, we're on the dance floor, and we don't hang out too much, but towards the end of the night, we start to like really talk and really sort of hit it off. And he was supposed to stay at another one of their college friends' homes on Long Island, like at least a half an hour away. But I was supposed to stay in the hotel, but I was staying with my parents because the hotel was kind of expensive. So I was staying in their room because I was too cheap to get my own hotel room.
Were you in the same king bed or the
No, I
cot?
didn't. two double beds. So anyway, so the night's over, we have the after party, everyone goes back to the hotel, they open up the hotel bar, and this guy is still with me. He has nowhere to stay at this point. Like, because the friends that he was supposed to stay with, they're gone, and he lives in the city. So he had nowhere to go. And I'm going up to the concierge, and I'm like, how much is it for a room for the night? They're like, oh, like $250. I was like, nope. So we're hanging out at the hotel bar, and I go, oh, me and this guy, to my family, I said, we're going to go to the bars. It was in Farmingdale, so it's that like strip of downtown bars. I was like, we're going to go out to the bars. I'm going out with my brother-in-law's friends. So they're like, whatever. So I take the Uber. I get the Uber to go back to my parents' house because I know no one's staying there for
Right.
the night. So me and him go back to the we go back to the hotel. I just tell my parents, I'm like, I took an Uber home after the bars. So the next morning, we start hooking up. So that night of, we start hooking up in like the family room. So like his shoes, his clothes are everywhere. And then finally make it to like my room. And The next morning, I just get like this like haunting suspicion, and I'm like, something's up. They're coming home. I know this. Like,
Yeah.
they're not like late risers. So I text my mom, and I'm like, trying to like get like, where are you? And I was like, I want Starbucks. They're like, oh, we just pulled into Islip. Now I go, shoes, socks, pants, get them on, let's go. I'm like, go right now. He's like, what? I'm like, they're literally down the block. I can't even tell you. I literally can't even tell you what caused me to text her, because it was like 7 a.m. at this point.
That's really
It's that
early.
gut feeling.
I would
Could
think
you
like they would
imagine
come
them
home at,
walking
like,
into
10.
this guy's clothes and my dress and underwear just all over? Like, it wasn't even in my room, and I was like, holy shit. So I'm like, let's go. He's like, I have to go to the bathroom. I was like, fucking hurry up. If he didn't go to the bathroom, he would have been fine. I'm like, we're rushing to the car. As soon as we get into the car, their car just comes pulling in the driveway.
my
I'm like,
God.
And I just go pulling out. I don't even make eye contact. I just sit right out.
Your dad's probably just shaking his head
like, not again.
for breezing the house when you get home.
Truthfully, though, the sad part is, I think they were just the next day. They were just so relieved. I didn't do anything drunk or embarrassing or black out, so I think they were just happy.
Like that the wedding was a success. You get a little sloppy sometimes.
I do.
It's okay. I do
does
too.
Alex.
Like, bad.
Yeah, so
But we
and
need that
then-
for entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the worst part is, I think like 3 months later, I'm on a dating app and I see the guy and I try to match with him and he doesn't match back. But
Oh, shit.
yeah,
What a dick.
I know.
That's fucked up.
I know. So yeah, needless to say, I just had after that, the dating apps. I don't really have much luck on dating apps. I feel like I do better in person.
Well, dating apps are the worst because it's like Alex and I did even like a test, and it was like we did like we were on a dating app just as like for the show, like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
to like, you know, basically like we, for some guys, we were normal. Like, hey, how's your day? What do you want to like? What's your life like?
Like the stupid small talk.
Yeah.
That goes nowhere.
And then other guys were like, yeah, it's my cat's birthday. My mom's making fondue for the party right now. Like, my cat, Mr. People Poppers, would you like to join the birthday party? Like, sorry, my
Yeah.
boyfriend just got out of jail for homicide. I might get back together with him. The weirder we were.
The more interested they were.
That is so weird.
Yeah, no, we were literally like, it's my cat's birthday. Sorry, I can't hang out tonight. They're like, what about tomorrow night? What about the next night?
Yeah, like, seriously.
And then the normal guys where you're making small talk and it's like, hey, how was your day? What do you do for a job? They're like, ghost.
Yeah.
We're
The
like-
conversation would last for like a few minutes and then it would be like dead silence.
Like crickets.
Okay.
Like that's it. But then you were like, so I'm just wondering, what would you do if your husband went to jail for homicide and you knew about it? But and they were
Yeah.
like, well, I'll tell you what I would do.
yeah,
You know,
but
like-
they were like, let's discuss this over coffee, actually.
exactly.
Like, you know, like shit
You're
like that. And I'm like,
what?
okay.
And then another guy, I'm like, sometimes I sing to my stuffed animals before I go to bed, and he's like, "Ooh, I'd love to come over and see that."
Yeah. And it's like, wait, what?
So like, dating apps don't go anywhere.
No, and I can tell you a great story of how they don't go anywhere because so I matched with this guy on Bumble and he is cute and he does CrossFit and I like that he's fit. So we literally it was like a Friday and we go out on Saturday. So I meet him at a restaurant. He's very good looking. He smells amazing. And we in my eyes, we hit it off. So we go to a restaurant, drink wine, 2 glasses of wine, and then he's like, well, where do you want to go now? I'm like, oh, we can just go to the bar next door. He's like, you read my mind. We go to the bar next door. We're drinking spicy margaritas. We're like dancing. We're like making out. And I'm like, I'm going to get an Uber home. And he's like, no, I'll drive you. Mind you, we're like equidistant where we meet. So he had to drive me all the way like 10 minutes, and then it probably would take him another 25 minutes just to get home. And I'm like, no, it's okay. Like, I'll Uber. He's like, no, I'm happy to like drive you. So then the next morning I text him and I'm like, hey, thanks so much for last night. I had a lot of fun. Like, thank you for driving me home. Like, here's my number. Because we just were only on the app. Like, we talked like what, maybe a day. So I get a text message him. He's like, it's my pleasure, you know. And I'm like, all right. I text her the next morning. I'm like, get ready for my Bahamas wedding.
Yeah. So excited.
So excited. And then I don't hear from him. That was it. We texted a little bit for like more that day. He had to go to his like dad's for his dad's birthday. And then that was it. Like no back and forth, no checking in, nothing, no setting up a second date. So then I'm like, all right, let me just get the feelers out there. So the next weekend I'm like, hey, you know, if you're around this weekend and want to like work out, or because I knew the gym that he went to.
And
Like, at
Shoshana's
drinks,
like a
let me know.
CrossFit affiliate. You were.
I was.
Yeah. So she's like big in the gym.
So so then he texts me back and he's like, I had a lot of fun too. I would love to. He was out of town for work. And I know he wasn't lying because Bumble is fucking creepy. And I could see that he was in Florida for work because it shows your location.
Okay.
You don't set your location. It goes where you go.
It goes when you're on your phone.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
okay.
only if you're using the app, basically. So he
Yes.
was on the app in Florida,
Yes.
which
Yep.
whatever. You guys were only on one date.
Exactly. So anyway, he sends me that when I'm home, like, you know, next time I would love to. Nothing. I've never heard from him since then. So I was upset about it. Like 2 weeks go past and me, my sister and her husband, it's a Friday night. I get off the train from work and we're like going out, getting drinks. I'm like, you know what? I'm moving to the city next month. You know, it's probably for the best. Like, I want to be single. I want to go out and date and like have fun, whatever. I was like, fuck that. I'm like, and I was like in a good place. I didn't really care. I was annoyed about it. Yeah, because he was really hot, but like, whatever. So we're sitting at the bar. And we're at a bar like by our house, like maybe 5 minutes away. So it's not even like I was going towards where he lived. So again, 25 minutes probably from where he lived. I'm sitting at the bar and all of a sudden my sister looks at me because I showed her the picture. She knew what he looked like. And I look back. He walks into the bar.
Oh my God.
Him and I like look over. We make eye contact and he runs out like sprints.
Oh my God.
Runs out of like looks at me in like shock and just runs.
What the hell?
No clue. And then I text him. He like the night we went out, like he actually like spilled a drink on me, and I thought I was like being funny. And my sister's like, "Don't do it. Don't text him." I was like, "I had to say something." So I'm like, "Oh, glad you left, so you didn't spill another drink on me." Didn't even courtesy text back. So then I was like, guys, pack it up. We're going. I made them go to every bar in town. Because I'm like, he's on a date. I'm crashing his date. And they're like, he left. He definitely like dipped 10 towns over. Like,
I
there's,
wonder
like-
what he was like doing because he.
Well, he's definitely going out meeting a girl for another date because he walked in by himself.
What we think it is because if you're meeting a random girl on a date and you've only gone out with somebody once, you courtesy say hello and you go
Right.
on a date with another girl. It's not the end of the world. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, and be like, oh, I went on a date with her, and you can even like last year I know her, she's a friend or whatever. Like, hopefully you're not crazy that you're gonna go up to him like, you never texted me back. Like, that's not normal. What we think it is, we think he's in a relationship
Oh yeah.
and his girlfriend was there or something like that, because you don't want
Yeah,
to.
I think he was in like deep enough with somebody
that you
it
don't
would've
want
been, like,
somebody else that you
oh, you
just
just
went
went on
out
a
with
date with this
like
girl?
2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? If you're meeting a random girl and you're single, who cares?
Yeah.
But to
So what is he
sprint,
gonna explain to her? I sprinted out of the bar like a madman. 'cause
Like I shit
why?
my
So I was
pants?
like, what? Did he have to change plans at the last minute? Let's meet somewhere else instead.
Yeah.
like Coastal was too crowded, like let's go. Like
Right.
somebody tried to jump me in there. Or be like, I pooped my pants, I have to go home, date's over.
Yeah, that's
That's like aggressive.
Like, and I'm sorry, I would never do that to somebody. Like
No.
seriously,
Sprint.
that is so. That's like it was like mean. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I would at least give like a hey, gotta go, like something. But like, not just like look at me and just booked it.
Yeah, it would have been like, what the fuck? Do I have something in my teeth? Like,
but aside from dating apps, like I have gone out with other guys that like I know. So there's this one guy that he dated my friend in high school, and then we met at the beach. And this was just another drunk, unfortunate night that I missed my ferry to go home. And he, if it wasn't for him, like I would have been dead as a doornail somewhere. He paid for my water taxi, paid for my Uber, like make sure I got home okay.
Wow.
And then
That's really nice.
It was so nice. And I was like, I love this person.
Bahama wedding. Here we come again.
Every time I say a Bahama wedding, I think that's what jinxed me. Who's the other person I said Bahamas wedding to? I forget. I said it about somebody else.
The military guy.
Shrimp.
Yeah.
The shrimp.
You got to tell about that one too. The shrimp.
there's another shrimp.
There's another shrimp.
How much time do we have?
We got a while.
So wait, okay. So yeah, him making sure I got home safe, literally paying for everything. I texted him the next day and I was like, please, can I Venmo you? He's like, absolutely not. Turns out him and I have the same birthday, which we kind of figured out down the line. But it was weird because
Simpatico.
right. And so it was always, let's get birthday drinks. So that was always kind of our thing. We never got birthday drinks. He would literally text me and be like, make plans. Like he once made plans like to go to like a restaurant at a specific time and then never followed up. Like, so the day of, like,
That sounds like dad bod with Addie. Like,
Yeah.
so hyped for it, and then the
Yep.
day comes, but we found out he had IBS.
IBS. Sorry, I can't go.
Still,
My stomach hurts. I ain't off the food truck. It's like, okay.
so yeah, he didn't have
That's why you have a
IBS.
dad bod, because you eat off the food truck.
Yeah, but he had a girlfriend. So
Oh.
that's why he would bait me. And then, but like he had this girlfriend for like 7 years. And I
But
didn't
what are
know.
you getting out of
point?
that?
I don't know.
Like
That's
the
weird.
thrill of the chase.
I guess.
Insecurities just to see if you can get somebody else. Like you're in a relationship.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I didn't even find that out until like a year later because it was just on and off of me being like, all right, sure. Because of that one time, because of the one time that he paid for everything, I was like, well, I got to give the guy a chance.
But that's really like chivalrous.
It is. I
Right.
know. But him and I then, I think when he stopped talking to his girlfriend, that was last summer. He stopped, because this has been like this was 2 summers ago that we like kind of re-met. And then last summer we went on a date and he was done with his girlfriend. That's why I knew he was single again. So we actually went out on a real date. He like bought dinner and I like went to pay half. He's like, I'll fucking chop your hand off, which I like, love that.
Yeah.
Though. He will not let you pay for a single thing. And I'm the cheapest fucking person in the world. So I'm like, sure.
That's
Yeah,
like
that's
Alex's
me.
thing. She'll never pay on a date.
If you take me out and you expect me to pay, then
You're never getting a second date.
I'm blocking you.
If you're in the relationship, it's one
That's
thing.
different.
But
That's
like
different.
the first 5 dates,
At
fuck no.
least?
Yeah, at least. Fuck
Yeah.
no.
No. And I like do it to like not just to like,
I'll
You know,
offer.
you
but
offer.
if you accept the offer, then you're cut.
Yeah.
100%. So, and anyway, so then after that, he got like weird. And he was going back to doing the same thing, like making plans with me, ghosting. So then finally, I'm like, what the hell? Like we were talking. I was supposed to like go over his house or something like that. The next morning, I get a text. He's like, sorry, my stepdad fell off the deck. He like fucked himself up pretty bad. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. So then I just completely stopped because it was such like a ridiculous bullshit like answer.
Yeah.
So then I stopped talking to him. Probably like 6 months to a year later, I'm on Hinge and I match with him. We start texting and I'm like, oh, so like I think we're talking again and I'm like, oh, what, does your dad fall off the stoop again? He's like, no, he's dead. He's like, yeah, it's been a pretty rough year. It was my stepdad, my grandpa, and my aunt all died.
You're like foot in mouth.
Whoops.
Yeah. Yeah, so needless to say, that really didn't go anywhere after that.
You're like making fun of him for his dad falling off the deck, and he's like, "Yeah, my stepdad's dead."
Well,
Yeah.
in your defense, you didn't know.
I didn't know.
No.
Yeah,
I would have been like, it was the complications from the deck fall.
Yeah. Yeah, but speaking of, another crazy dad story. So I living in the city at this point, and you know, it's hard. I feel like the city is harder than Long Island because guys can be like, so their standards are so fucking high. Like, I feel like I'm in New York City 6, where I'm here, I'm like a Long Island like 9.
Right.
So that's the problem. So you kind of got to lower your standards a little bit. So I'm talking to this guy, and he's like cute-ish, but I'm like cute enough that, you know, he had a house out in West Hampton. He's from Long Island. Like, I'm like, all right, like I can see us getting along. So he's like, first red flag that I ignored, I'm staying at the Dream Hotel. I'm like, well, why aren't you at your apartment?
Right.
He's like, I'm getting my airs off. And it was like dead summer. He's like, my air's off, so I'm staying at the Dream Hotel. Come down here. On a Wednesday night, mind you, I have work in the morning.
Yeah.
So on a Wednesday night, I take a cab down to the Dream Hotel, and I, for some reason, like go into his apartment. I walk in, there is blow all over his mini fridge.
Party.
The place is trash. He's like, yeah, I've been hanging out with Antonio Brown and Bob Menahee. Antonio Brown is a football player that ripped his shirt off and like basically like flipped the Bucks off.
Now we know why.
Yeah.
Because he was on coke.
Yeah.
Mind you, that never happened. He just made it up.
Oh,
Antonio
okay.
Brown wasn't even staying at the Dream Hotel. He was staying somewhere else. I like looked it up on Instagram. Yeah. So anyway, like the Dream Hotel is nice, especially during the summertime because there's a pool. So he's like, let's go down to the pool and get drinks. Why I said yes is beyond me. So he's like being kind of weird, and we get drinks. I'm like, I might as well get some free drinks out of it.
Yeah.
So we're like hanging by the pool, and he starts telling me this like sob story of he's in like so much pain and his back hurts, and like his dad died on 9/11 and like all this shit. And so I'm like, whoa, like I'm sorry to hear that. And I like go to bring up like 9/11. I was like, yeah, like that was like a, like when you're from Long Island, like there's people that you knew down the block that died.
Right,
Like, it just,
exactly.
everyone got affected by it somehow.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, like that was like a, for everyone, like that was like a, I couldn't imagine because like everyone, that was like a tough experience. He's like, what? Like freaks out on me. It was a tough experience for you? Is your dad alive? I was like, yeah. He's like, mine's not. Mine's dead. My dad died on 9/11. And I'm like,
Oh my
holy
God.
shit, like this guy is nuts. So then I'm like almost like feeling sorry for him because I was like, like that's sad. So he's telling me how he's in all this pain, how he has all this back pain, and I'm like, knowing a lot about the body, I'm like, listen, like a lot of times your back pain is pent up trauma that is just not released. It gets trapped into one area. So like your pain is just like built up trauma. Have you heard of this doctor, John Sarnos? And he's like, oh my God, I have his book up on my bed. Can you show me some exercise?
Oh my God.
And I'm like, because now I'm like feeling sorry for this guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, sure. So anyway, on the way back up to his hotel room, he's like telling me about how, because his job situation seemed shady. He said he lives in the Upper West Side, but his like air was down. And then he said he worked for the family business that was one of the world's largest birdseed companies.
I didn't know there was so much money in that.
Apparently.
Probably.
But then he's telling me he worked in finance for Wells Fargo. He used to do that, but keeps it on his profile. But he left there because to work for the family business.
To go to Birdseed.
But he still keeps the Wells Fargo finance on his dating profile because girls like to see finance
Instead of Birdseed.
instead of birdseed.
Facts.
I mean, I would.
But then the wheels started turning. It's like, well, if your dad was in the top floor of 9/11, I'm pretty sure the birdseed headquarters were not up there.
Yeah.
Like, your dad, if he owned a birdseed company, like he wasn't working in the towers.
Right.
So I'm like, so what is it? Like, what do you do for work? And he's like, well, you know, all the kids whose parents worked on the top floor got like this like pretty big trust fund. And I'm like, huh? Like now it's all over the place. Like,
Yeah. So,
So
you're not
again-
working?
so the family business is birdseed. Was he in finance? Like I couldn't get anything straight. So finally, we go into his hotel room, and he's like, I guess he got his book or whatever. And I actually forgot how it was brought up. And I said something about his dad dying on 9/11. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, wait, your dad dying on 9/11. He's like, my dad never died on 9/11. What are you talking about? You are drunk. I'm like, what? I'm like, this whole night, you kept telling me your dad died on 9/11. No, he didn't. You're drunk. Fucking get out. Get out right now. I'm like, holy shit. Like, you're a psychopath, and you need to talk to someone that's got a lot of degrees because you are crazy.
Yeah, he just yelled at you saying your dad's still alive and mine's not.
So I find
And I have
him
a
on-
trust fund from Birdseed.
Here's the worst part. I find him on Facebook. His dad never died on 9/11. His dad was like, it was like one of those Anna Nicole Smith things. Like the dad was very, very old and the mom was young and blonde. And the dad just like died of old age. Like when he had a picture, it was like dated March 25th, 2017. It was like, today was the day 5 years ago when we lost the best man. Like his dad
Oh my God.
died. Yeah, like just in like March. And
Who
they
makes
did
shit
own-
up like that?
and They did own a
That's-
bird.
They did have a Birdseed company.
Did have a birdseed company. Yep.
That is wild.
Oh my
like, you
God.
don't say your dad died on 9/11 and then there was no 9/11 death. It was like
Nope.
March.
My cousin
Nothing
did that.
related.
With Backpack Queen.
Her twin.
Of course.
Wait, Backpack King Queen has a twin?
Yeah.
Yes. That's not so much of a klepto.
But they were in like elementary school when like 9/11 happened. And then when is Father's Day? I don't know. In class, they had to make like
like
Father's
June,
Day
right, or
cards or some
something?
shit. And she didn't feel like making the card. So the teacher came over and was like, why aren't you making a card for your dad? And she was like, oh, well, he died in 9/11.
Oh my God.
So the twin comes in the next class, backpack, and the teacher goes, listen, you know, your sister told me about your dad. If you don't want to make the card, like, you don't have to. And she's like, what happened to my dad? And then she's like, you know how like he passed away in 9/11? And she's like, he didn't pass away in 9/11. He's at work. So it's like the running joke since 2001 that we like make fun. We were like, every 9/11 we like send her a text message. We're like, sorry about your dad today. And like shit like that. And she's like, you guys never let go of anything.
Nope.
Well, I mean, that's kind
of really bad when you're in elementary school.
Yeah.
Like that's like telltale signs that you're a sociopath.
yeah, pretty much.
Like I'd be afraid for you if I was the teacher.
Right? They like called the parents to come down and be like, you know, she's lying about you dying in 9/11. And he was like,
They probably
well,
laughed it off.
yeah, they were just like, oh, okay. And like make jokes about it. Like, all right.
I'd put my kid in therapy. Like this is
Yeah.
not
Immediately.
normal.
So yeah, my final last dating app, another Bumble like fuck up. Which by the way, I fucking hate Bumble.
Yeah.
I think Bumble is the worst.
Is it? I
Because
don't-
it's like it makes it like pussy men do it because they don't have to say anything.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where you contact them first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel like Bumble's a red flag to begin with if a guy is like really into Bumble because that means like he's not like he doesn't want to, you know, put
Yeah.
the effort in first.
Isn't Hinge the one now that's good?
People prefer Hinge to Bumble.
That's the one we were on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For our
I
cat's
prefer Hinge to
birthday.
Bumble. Cuz like
And then Tinder's just disgusting.
yeah.
Tinder's gross at
Yeah.
this point. Not that I'm on dating apps at all, but
Yeah, no, they're all suck. But the problem is for me, I feel like I don't look very good in my photos, but I feel better in person when I meet somebody.
Yeah.
But then these people fucking catfish you. Like I legitimately got catfished. The second guy that I texted that it was my Bahamas wedding to them was how hot was he in his photos?
He was hot in his photos.
So
He was your type.
oh my God. he was my
Shoshana
type.
likes like a beachy, surfy.
but like fit.
yeah, like a fit beach surfer, like blonde, like, you know, like Ruka or whatever the company is, like t-shirt, shit like that.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
that's her type.
And he was that vibe. So we matched. He was like in the military also, but like surfer. And I was like, oh yeah, like 100%. He was so cute too. So, but now looking back on it, he didn't have group photos. It was only singular photos of him. So you couldn't really tell. When I show up, I am 5'2.5". I was taller than him.
Oh my God.
I was like, legitimately, he had to have some form of dwarfism. He had to have. He was so small. Like I almost like looked down and I was wearing Vans.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I was even
so
wearing-
he's very
He was like
tiny
4'8", 4 something.
Yeah,
had to be.
That's legal dwarfism.
That's really short.
Yep.
yeah.
He had the face of a grown man. Like his face was a grown hot man. He had the body of a 13-year-old middle school wrestler. His hands were so tiny. He had like little shrimp hands. Like little fucking chode fingers.
Oh my God.
And he was a psycho too. If he were a nice guy or whatever, I would be like, all right. Because his face was so good looking, it was a little weathered, but he was a psycho. Like, mind you, I drove to him. Well, he was in Long Beach, and I like Long Beach. And
Yeah.
so I was like,
But
I'd
that's
rather
like
do
a
that.
good 40-minute drive.
At least.
Yeah.
It's far.
Yeah, it's an hour from here.
Yeah. All right, then it's an hour and fucking 15 minutes
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
us.
it was far. So I go all the way out there, and I'm like, it's not even like I could just turn around and go. I'm like, I already committed. Because as soon as I walk up, I look down. I'm like, oh, fuck, here we go again. So we're sitting down, and he's just, like, jerking. So I don't know if he was, like, on something. But he's, like, there, like, kind of like the Trump guy that told me I was a slob.
Yeah.
Like that. Just very explosive. And I'm like, oh, God. So... Anyway, he's like, yeah, I had to take you to this part of Long Beach. I couldn't take you to like the State Street part. He's like, that's where me and all my friends hang out. And he's like, I don't know what you look like. He's like, I don't know what you look like. He's like, you could have showed up and been a beluga whale. I'm like, the fucking audacity out of this
Okay,
guy.
fucking
you are
elf.
straight catfishing people and you're afraid to be catfished. Like, what?
That's why he was scared, because he knew he was doing it.
Yeah.
Oh
asshole.
my God. I would have been like, fuck you.
Because that's where the fun bars
Tiny
are.
Tim.
He's like, I couldn't bring you there. What if you were a fat beluga whale? I'm like, well, you're a fucking mini shrimp. Like,
What a dick.
yeah.
So how did it end off?
So I stuck it out for a beer. Honestly, I was repulsed by him because we were both wearing Vans, and he was like, yeah, you know, like, I don't even buy new pairs. I just stick them in the dishwasher.
Not even the washing machine.
Not even the because they shrivel up in the washing machine, but if you put them in the dishwasher, they get cleaner. I was like,
Where your
I'm
fucking
gonna vomit.
food dishes go.
I was, yeah, I was like, I am so disgusted by that. So I ended
Addie
up.
would be so into
I'd be
that.
so grossed out.
Yeah. So I end up, I go to the bathroom, I call my sister, I was like, whatever you need to do, call me, make something up. I'm like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. So I end up leaving. He like hugs me goodbye and then texts me later that night. And I
Does he hug your knees?
Yeah.
Say. You got like
Pat him on the
motorboated.
head, goodbye.
Later, little boy. See you, little dude.
And so then I just drive home. I ignored all of his messages and he just kind of got the hint and that was it.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Because you're a beluga whale.
I will say I am such an asshole. Like the last 2 dates that I went on, and then I'm hibernating for the rest of the winter. Like I did 2 in one night, and that was on a Friday after work. I should never have done that. I met up with this guy in Midtown. He had like this. He like made out. I was like not really feeling it, so I left early. But he like forced to kiss on me and had like the worst breath. And
Ew. Like pop it a mint, dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
So then the next guy after that I met for drinks in my apartment had me split the bill with him.
Bye.
Nope.
Bye.
And so after that night, I don't even like do a courtesy anything. I just block and delete. I delete, block, and then I block
You
them
don't
on
owe
Hinge.
them anything.
no, it's
though.
one date.
Yeah.
You don't owe them a thing. Like if you block somebody that you were seeing for 6 months out of nowhere, that'd be like a little cruel. But like one date, you don't owe them a shit.
No. And
And
so
just
that
like
was
they
it.
could take the hint from there. Like, okay, she's not answering.
Yeah.
Move on.
And how many times have you been ghosted?
I
Like,
got a million.
you get like hard after a while from the
Yeah.
dating scene.
Yeah.
You almost lose hope. I hate to
But
say
then it's
it.
like if you
do.
do respond, then you got to entertain them. And even if you say like, "Hey, I think we should just be friends" or whatever, like then I don't know.
Thanks
Like,
for
then they're
wasting my
Well,
time.
why? What's
Yeah.
wrong with me? Like some people are nuts.
That's the worst part about me, though, is when I get ghosted, I get pissed. I just be like, I just want to know why. Why aren't you talking to me?
She'll be like, "What are you, a pussy?" Her thing is she calls everyone a pussy, and her sister and I are like, "Maybe you shouldn't make that a thing."
Last night they were joking. They were like, maybe we should just autocorrect your phone every time you try to write pussy. It just says, have a good
She was dating this one guy, and he didn't respond for a while, and she goes, "You fucking pussy." We're like, that'll get him to respond. But he
No,
did.
probably would though.
But he did.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. Because you know why I was pissed? I could tell he was on Instagram. Like,
Yeah.
he has the green dot, and it was like active 5 minutes ago, and it was all day that didn't answer my text. And I was like, whatever, you fucking pussy. And then he was like, whoa.
Yeah, that will get them to respond.
It
It's like,
did.
she's not going to call me a pussy.
Yeah.
I'll show her.
I'm going to show her.
It's like,
and
all right, well, at least you answered.
take her on a date and split the bill.
That's just rude. Like, who raised you? If
Yeah.
you're going to make the girl split the bill, ew.
He was like foreign, so maybe, but
Okay.
yeah.
I don't know.
still, I would
Splitting
head
the
for the
bill's a
hills.
red flag. Like,
Yeah.
dude, suck it up for the first 5 dates. I know dating gets expensive, but then go meet for coffee in the beginning.
Right, exactly.
If
like, you
dating
don't take
dinner
me out
gets
to a dinner.
expensive, then go for coffee, go for a beer, or go for, the first date I went with my boyfriend, I don't drink.
Right.
We went to a bar, I got a club soda, and he got like 2 beers. Like, that's a cheap enough fucking date.
Right.
Only then, if you like somebody, then you can
Right,
go
like,
out
let's
to
do
dinner.
dinner next
Always
time.
has to be dinner. Like, it doesn't. Like, you could do other things. So if they're not really putting in the thought process to be like, oh, well, just talking about dating's expensive, whatever, then like, fuck that.
Just go out to
Right.
fucking coffee or a beer for the first time, though. It doesn't have to be like, how much is it for 2 beers? What, $12? You can't
yeah.
fucking afford that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can't, you don't have any business dating.
Dating.
people.
You really
So,
don't. Don't bring them out then.
That was a good list.
You've got some stories, man.
Unfortunately.
All right, guys. Well, Shoshana, thank you so much
Yeah,
for coming
thank you.
on. Any other dating stories? You want to start dating more? Go on some dating apps. Come back on the show. We're all here.
My pleasure.
And if anybody wants to write in for dating apps, the Instagram is Disappointed But Not Surprised Pod. The Facebook is Disappointed But Not Surprised Pod. And then the TikTok and the Twitter are Podcast DBNS.
Yeah.
And don't fucking take that as an invite to send your micro wiener photos, you fucking weirdos. Like, we get enough.
Yeah, we're at maximum capacity right now.
Stop with the fucking dick pics.
Unless you want to send money, then
If you want to send money, then send a dick. We should make it so like they have to be like, hey, can I send a dick picture? Here's $50, and then we'll accept.
yeah, but can you do that?
I don't know. I wish
Probably
there was
not.
a way. Send money first, and then we'll accept your micro wiener photo.
Exactly.
Otherwise, kick rocks.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, later, hoes.
Disappointed but not surprised. Disappointed but not surprised. Disappointed but not surprised.